Members that we love, that we've lost them, because I like to keep this tradition going. So this is a toast to family.
To family.
The Black Cleaner. Nate's Odyssey. Traveling while black. Real stories. No filters. Follow the journey. Across the world we've roam, searching for peace while trying to build a home. Through the love and the loss, through the pressure and growth, the Black Cleaner speaking truths most people never told. Follow the journey. No filters, no pretending. Follow the journey. Real stories, never ending. From Panama nights to Cartagena views, trying to understand life from a different point of view. Conversations get deep when the camera's cut on. Talking purpose, pain, and trying to stay strong. Traveling while black in a world full of judgment. Trying to find freedom while escaping the dysfunction. Some people chasing money, some searching for healing. Others just trying to understand what they really feeling. Nate's Odyssey, every episode authentic. Talking real life lessons, people scared to mention. Relationships changing, friendship fading slow. Trying to find your purpose while still learning to grow. Follow the journey. Across the world we roam, searching for peace while trying to build a home. Through the love and the loss, through the pressure and growth, the Black Cleaner speaking truths most people never told. Follow the journey. No filters, no pretending. No, follow the journey. Real stories, never ending. Messy love Mondays and them late night talks. Money mindset streams while we question our thoughts. Building abroad but discovering yourself. Learning real freedom ain't just wealth. Black fatigue conversations hit different at night. Trying to carry pressure while still chasing the light. Every live stream feel like therapy sessions, helping people navigate pain and direction. No fake flexing, just honest reflections. Travel stories mixed with life confessions. The beauty and struggle of the global economy, trying to elevate beyond survival mentally. If you ever felt lost, if you ever needed change, if you ever question life, this journey might feel the same. Follow the journey. Across the world we roam, searching for peace while trying to build a home. Trying to build through the love and the loss, through the pressure and growth. The Black Cleaner speaking truths most people never told. Follow the journey. No filters, no pretending. Follow the journey. Real stories, never ending. Travel, culture, relationships, reinvention. The Black Cleaner. Follow the journey.
Tonight on Real Talk with Nate, we are talking about why skilled trades matter to black wealth, black independence, and black legacy. For too long, too many of us were pushed away from skilled labor and told success only looked like college, corporate work, or entertainment. But plumbing, electrical, carpentry, cleaning, restoration, HVAC, welding, trucking and construction are not lesser paths. They are survival skills, they are business opportunities, they are ownership pathways. This conversation is about getting back to practical wealth. We will discuss why skilled trades are still powerful, why black families need trade knowledge again, how trades create income, independence and business ownership, how Fight Works connects to the mission, how we rebuild legacy through practical skills, The Black Cleaner Media stands on love, legacy, liberation. Subscribe, share the live, and join the conversation.
Oh, what's going on? Happy Monday, everybody. I am the Black Cleaner, and welcome to the Black Cleaner Presents Real Talk with Nate. I'm here with my co-host,
Cool Key, fresh in the flesh. We live. Another week down, another Monday up. With Nate the Black Cleaner.
Did you enjoy your 4th of July weekend?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I'm quiet, but it was loud.
Glad to hear it. Anything special you did? I ain't do much.
Nah, you already know I don't do much, bro.
Glad to hear it, man. Shoot. So, I guess without any further ado, we can get into tonight's topic, rebuilding blacks in the trade. And I know, why are we talking about this? Well, number one is because a lot of us are looking for ways to get to the bag. And I tell people, the reason that I'm on here, if you don't get anything from, this live, get this. Freedom isn't free, but freedom doesn't cost $1 million. And that's what we're here to show you. That you can be free without trying to get to $1 million. You know what I'm saying? There are ways to get to the bag without you having to take penitentiary chances. Keem, my cousin, me and him grew up together. He can tell you his story. I can tell you my story in the blue collar, hustling world. And one of the things that we did take from the blue collar hustling world is that there are, different ways to make a buck without taking those penitentiary chances. Can't you concur with that, King? You having the skills on the Clippers. You also going to Job Corps and learning the trade in the Job Corps industry.
Well, you know me. I'm any means necessary. So I always had one foot in the streets and one hand in a job.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to work with both. And be able to.
Go ahead.
I never got to a level where I was kingpin status. I was able to maintain and have money around me all the time and be able to put a couple dollars to the side and maintain, like I said.
I hear you. And see, that's another thing too. A lot of people will, get on the live broadcast and, they'll show you stats and figures and stuff like that. And I'm not a stats and figures type of person. I think a little bit different. I was able to learn from stories and other people's experiences. And me being an author, of a book, that's all I offer is, stories. When I was in, these different schools, another thing that we would... Say it again?
I'm watching FIFA right now. And these suckers just scored. My bad. Go ahead.
Oh, so, they would have these case studies when I was in these different seminars, these different classes, courses that I would take. They would always, give case studies.
I thought that was
so
you.
This is all that what we're doing is we're offering these stories that you all can use as case studies. And then there are also different people who are in the trades that are in the Black travel movement. You know, you have a lot of people that are in the Black travel movement who are truckers. You know, they got their CDLs. You got people that are general contractors, and you know, a lot of them, they do come up on our field, and I do appreciate, and, you know, a lot of truckers that are out there, Mr. Peppers, K9, shout out to you all. Who else is a trucker that I know? DMV, Honcho, you know, a lot of these that are truckers. I definitely would love to hear your stories, but also the people who are tradesmen like myself. You know, I was in the, not only did I have, you know, my certification from pest control, and I'll tell you that story, and also I was in the hazardous waste cleaning industry, or they called it the HAZWOPER, hazardous waste removal and emergency response worker. I also was in disaster recovery, and water damage restoration, fire damage restoration. I had those cleaning certifications, and those were the things that allowed me to be able to support myself and my family. And that's why I wanted to, you know, come and talk about the Blacks in the trades, because what you'll learn from some of the videos and the clips that I've had, that it were the trades that allowed the families to be able to thrive in the Black community. We'll study a little bit of the history of the trade unions, you know, and how the trade unions would keep Blacks out in order to protect work for white workers. And that's another reason why you don't see a lot of Black people in the trades anymore. But it doesn't take away the fact that having a trade and having those skills will help your family to be able to thrive in this world, because a person who knows how to build a house doesn't worry about being homeless. I will always say that. Because
True.
They know how to build the house. They know how to, you know, build a roof over their head. They can take something that is in blight and disrepair and fix it up and make it habitable. A person who doesn't know, who knows how to grow their own food doesn't worry about going hungry, because they all know how to go into their backyard and plant seeds into the soil and water it and give it sunlight and give it the necessary nutrients it needs to be able to produce food for harvest.
Right. In hindsight to that, you know, the trade game also created financial independency, where you could eventually try to, you know, start at one point and grow your thing into a business and create ownership.
Exactly.
I landed.
And he made that point. You know, these skills create not only the ability to be able to, you know, make yourself self-sufficient, but also to be able to create a business in which you're able to help other people, you know, by fixing their problems. And that's really what this world is about, knowing how to be able to, you know, solve problems. And when you're able to solve problems in your community thrives, and everybody is able to, you know, come up together. As they say, a rising tide lifts all boats. But guess what? If your boat has a hole in it and you don't know how to fix it, is that rising tide going to help you? No, it's not. And a lot of us was given a boat with holes in it and don't have the knowledge to know how to fix it. So with that, I digress.
Well, fortunately, with you know, technology, we got Google. There's a book for dummies for everything out there. We just gotta seek the knowledge, because it's out there, bro. This we know.
Yep. Not only Google, but YouTube University, also Audiobook University or Audible. You know, I'm an advert Audible University alumni. You know, I'm actually, you know, taking some classes now. You know, I'm on Audible learning about AI and how to, you know, utilize AI into developing, you know, digital marketing, and how to build what's it called, agents to be able to help you do the work that you're doing. So definitely, you know, if you want to, this is what we're here for. You know, there's plenty of YouTubers out here who, you know, want to talk about chicas and, you know, want to talk about, you know, a relationship drama and all of that stuff. You know, I'm 49 years old. You know, Keem, I don't know if you want to tell his age, but, you know, we're at the age now where, you know, we're trying to.
I'm a milestone right now. You already know that.
Exactly. 50. You know, I haven't gotten there yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm not at the AARP party yet. I got one more year, so I'm enjoying it.
You like 5 hours away from 50, nigga.
Hey, but I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying it every chance I get. You know what I'm saying? It was funny because my brother, shout out to Charlie and his wife, they came to celebrate my 49th here in Panama in April, and they was like, oh yeah, we can't wait for you to get 50 because you've been getting on us, because, you know, they're 10 years older than me, both of them. So, you know, they're at 60 now, or knocking down 60. So I've been getting on them for 9 years now. So they're like, oh yeah, I can't wait. We definitely gonna be here for your 50th next year.
Right.
But it's shout out to us youngins. Us YNs in the building. But for real, let me be for real. I'm here to show, you know, the younger people that are coming up that there are different ways to be able to make money without taking penitentiary chances. You know, I did all right because I was able to get into the cleaning field and the pest control field, and that allowed me to be marketable, where, you know, I never really had to worry about looking for a job because I had, you know, a couple of certificates under my belt. But with that being said, there were always other people who had better certificates, you know, i.e. the CDL, i.e. even, you know, one of my friends, when he got out of the military, you know, as I said, when I got out of the military, my father was there with his pest control company. And even with his pest control company, it still took me 2 years before I actually buckled down, took the book that he gave me to be able to study to get that license or that certification to be able to become a pest control technician.
Right.
Meanwhile, okay, I got one of my boys, shout out to Bird. Me and him was stationed in Japan together in the Navy. He gets out. The first thing he does is he takes the A+ course and gets his A+ certification, which is, anybody who doesn't know, that's the entrance exam for IT. Then once he finishes that, he goes and takes the Microsoft certification class course. Once he gets that, he goes and he gets a government service job working on base as an IT technician. So from the gate, getting out of the military, he's making, you know, big bucks. Me, I get out, you know, I'm over here trying to figure out, you know, how to do it. You know, I try to go the college route. College route didn't work for me. You know what I'm saying? I end up, you know, working for my father a little bit, but my father was saying, you need a license in order to work with me, because I want to be able to send you out on your own. The only way that you're able to work right now is if I'm in the vicinity, meaning you know, within an earshot away from you, which means I got to go with you on every job. I don't make any money with me, you know, doing that. So either you go get your pest control certification or you go get another job, because I can't do this with you. I can't continue doing this with you. And that book that he gave me, that book was thick. You know what I'm saying? I would start reading that book. I think it had like 20-something chapters. And I would get to like chapter 2 and I'd be in Snoozeville. It wasn't until, you know, I was able to take it. Say it again.
Why were you in Snoozeville? Because it was boring?
Yeah, it was a textbook, you know. It was a certification course textbook, and it's talking about, you know, a lot of technical things. Really,
Right.
it was
I
about
get it.
safety procedures, you know, how not to poison Mrs. Jones's dog, you know, stuff like that, or what happens if you do, and different. Then it, you know, it would get into a little bit of the nuance of, you know, different types of insects, identification or whatever. But as the point of the matter was, me sitting there by myself trying to read that book.
Code shit. Because nobody gave you the cheat code, cuzzo. I bet you there was only sections of that whole book that you were supposed to study, just like the damn driver's book for the damn driver's exam. You don't need to read everything in there. You just need to know where to go and, you know, what to be able to point out and what things you need to know. You know what I'm saying? Embrace and not really pay attention to.
Aha. And that's where I was.
But you didn't have someone to knowledge you on that.
What happened was this. On the back of the book, it shows that UMass had a class, a 2-day class, which went over the book.
Oh, okay.
Cost
See,
$100 and what happened was I ended up, you know, just, you know, once I found that out, I took the course. It was only 2 days. And then after I took the course, I was able to, I had a good understanding of what was going on, because I you know, we all learned because we went to school. We had, you know, from that classroom environment. We learned because the teacher would spoon feed us the knowledge. So once the teacher started spoon feeding me the knowledge and the different, and giving me the breakdown of each chapter,
what to pay attention to,
I was able to retain that information, and I was able to pass the course, and I was able to get my pest control certification. And then once I was able to get my pest control certification, my marketability went up. You know, before, when I was only making, you know, $26,000 a year, which only amounted to about $12 an hour, $13 an hour, I was able to increase that with pest control, because now I'm starting at $15 an hour. And then when I was working, you know, at these jobs, call center jobs, you know, working at, you know, a lot of these corporate jobs, you can't do no side jobs on a corporate job unless you're doing, you know, some type of technical work. But with these trades, I was able, you know, I worked for Orkin, and then, you know, my father had his own pest control business, so he would feed me some work. So I was doing work for him. And then my brother, I had, you know, shout out to my brother Nick, we would call half brother, because, you know, we have the same father, different mother. But he also had his own pest control company, because he would do all of the bars down in Fenway, you know, Lansdowne Street, you know, the clubs around there at night. So when he didn't want to go do those bars, and he also had some daycare centers too. So when he didn't want to go do them, he would call me up, and, you know, he would, you know, give me a percentage for doing the work for him. So that was a lot of the opportunities that came with just the pest control aspect of getting into the trades. But I want to hear your story in terms, because I know you went into Job Corps, and in Job Corps you studied plumbing. So can you tell us that story?
again. No, some that's it. Damn, I feel like we've been through this. I feel like I've been through that already. I told the Job Corps story and working for someone that wasn't being truly honest and appreciating my value at the time. Being young and dumb, I didn't know my value because I was nice with what I did and actually liked what I did. You know, but I do feel like I should have utilized that skill. I would have been all right.
Yeah, understood. But a lot of people don't understand even the Job Corps track. You know what I'm saying? because I mean, there's plenty of different trades that Job Corps offered. And what were some of those trades that they offered, and what made you choose plumbing out of all of the trades that Job Corps offered at that time?
I chose plumbing because it was hands-on. Like damn near every trade you learn is going to be hands-on. I don't know why I chose plumbing, cuzzo. I can't even like give you an exact reason why. That's just what I chose. And then when I got into it, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I took to it. And then I had a black teacher named Mr. Green, who was the coolest dude on the planet, but he was teaching us well. And he was teaching us right. You know, there's certain codes you got to know, and everything else that goes with learning something and building a home. There's certain codes you got to abide by when building. So I definitely liked it, bro. Like, but I didn't follow through. I got a little intimidated.
Now let me ask you this question, because you was talking about codes and stuff, right? And one of the things that I did learn when I was out in the field, because that's another thing in the trades. When you're in the trades, right, whatever trade that you choose, you're usually going to be out in the field with other tradesmen. So me being a pest control operator, me being in disaster recovery, which I always would, if there was a trade that I would recommend, and I want people also put in the chat what you think would be a good trade that your family should get into. What do you think would be the best trade? If those that are listening, put in the chat what you think would be the ideal trade for you know, your family. Now me, I was in pest control at the time, and we would run into we was doing these buildings for shout out to Ed Franco. He was he owned a lot of the what's it called, the Western Unions, I mean the cash spots around Boston, check cashing places.
Who you talking about?
He also owned a lot of the not the buildings, he had like over 100 units between around Dudley, around Boston and Brockton. He owned a lot of units, and that was our account. El Paso Management, shout out to them. I don't know if they're still in business anymore, but yeah, El Paso Management was one of the companies that was one of my accounts. And there was one guy who was a plumber there, and we was actually able to hire him for some of our own situations where we would have to go in and do some what we call pest proofing. Like if there was a rat issue, we would go in and we would seal up all of the holes where the rats was coming in at. So there was a situation where there was a water heater blocking, it was in its utility closet, and the utility closet had a lot of rats and rodents going in and out, and we couldn't get behind it because there was this water heater blocking it. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. So we hired him to come in and uninstall the water heater so that we can get in there and seal up the utility closet so that we could pest proof the building. So while we was there, I was thinking about you, cuz. So I was asking him, I was saying, so I got a cousin that has his certificate from Job Corps. How useful is that, getting your A, B, or C certificate from Job Corps? You know what he told me?
What did he tell you?
He said, not useful at all. He said, I need, when you come into the when you come into the plumbing industry, the two things you need to know off the bat is how to install a water heater, or repair a water heater if there's no heat, because those are going to be your common calls. No heat calls for gas, or no heat call for hot water, or how to unclog toilets, how to snake toilets. Those are your two most common problems that you get calls for. And Job Corps a lot of times is not going to teach you those two basic common things. They expect you to, go and learn that in the field. And I was like, wow. And so that's why I was asking, because, you was telling me about, Mr. Green teaching you these codes, but did he teach you how to snake a toilet? Did he teach you how to uninstall and reinstall a water heater?
Bro, I know how to do all that.
Okay.
And you heard me break down the whole situation where you said you watch someone put in a toilet. That shit's simple. Everything's just a process. And if you learn the steps to get to a goal, you're gonna be all right. I tell my kids all the time, like, math is a process. Some people can see the shorter process. Some people can't. You feel what I'm saying? But it's a process. You do this to get this. You do this to get this. And then when you get to the end, that's your end result. If you follow the process.
I feel you.
So, yeah, I always had good skill in that due to Mr. Green, because he was a good teacher, bro. And he also wanted to see black kids do good. And I'm a quick learner. You ain't gonna have to show me 100 times when I'm there, hands on. Once I see it and I start doing it, I got it.
Okay. Hold on one second. So we're going to talk. I'm going to play a couple of videos that speaks to that, because just like what Keem was talking about, as soon as he got out of Job Corps. So you chose Job Corps. You like Mr. Green. He was a cool dude. You passed his course. Now, what certification did you get when you left Job Corps? A, B, or C? Because I know they were saying that there's,
See, now that I didn't have knowledge of. I know I had my apprentice plumbership, and I was handed a certificate for achievement. Oh, yeah, damn. Yes, U.S. scored. My bad, cuz. Oh, damn, no. Fuck, how did we get this score so fast? Damn, my fault.
All right, I'm gonna play this.
Yeah, do the video.
He's like, yeah, do the video. We watching the game right now. Fair use, y'all. I'm sorry about last week's. It got stricken down for a copyright strike. What I do is I have a weakness for playing the whole video without talking through it. I'm learning as I go, you all. So, but tell me what y'all think about this video. This actually starts to speak about a lot of times why, when black folks get into the trades, why we find difficulty, like some of the things that Keem ran into.
In New York and Philadelphia, blacks own less than 20% of the cabs. Government licensing closes the door to economic opportunity. Nearly 1,000 occupations in the United States exclude people who do not have licenses. Sometimes the licenses cost money. Sometimes they require the applicant to pass complicated tests that have little to do with the job. Sometimes getting a license requires a friend in the business. All those licensing laws do just one thing: keep outsiders out. Those outsiders are often members of minority groups.
Back during the 30s and 40s.
So, as you heard, a lot of times, you have these labor unions and these trade unions, and just like when we was fighting for our right to vote, what did they have? They had this literacy test. What else did they have? They had, poll tax. So even in the trades, what did they do in order to keep us out? They had licenses.
There were practices that were rampant in the South, particularly in the former slaveholding states, where blacks were specifically excluded by predominantly white unions. Example, electricians unions, plumbers unions, railroad firemen unions, and at that time, the records of history will demonstrate that it was the purpose of white unions to exclude blacks, minorities in general, from the workplace. In fact, there were statements specifically made in connection with occupational licensing regulations that if this law is successful, it will have the effect of reducing to a minimum the involvement of blacks, or Negroes as they were called then, in the workplace.
Are you hearing this, King? Now, King, let me ask you.
I'm definitely hearing it, but this ain't nothing that we don't already know. Dog, we've been blackballed in so many different areas to keep us from not gaining. What do we do about it? That should be the conversation.
And my question is. So when you went into the plumbing, was your supervisor or the guy who was your mentor, was it a black business owner or a white business owner?
He's black.
Okay. So what do you think happened to, want to not, mentor you?
Because not everybody has that in them. Mm-hmm. Not everybody wants to teach people and watch people grow in life. Unfortunately. Some motherfuckers just want to use you for their growth.
Was the work there though?
Oh, the work was definitely there.
Okay.
Yeah. Work 5 days a week. 8 hours a day. There was a little Spanish dude I worked with but he was right under the business owner. He was his guy. He was a pretty cool dude. I learned from him some things. Mm-hmm. But he wasn't the owner. It was always the bottom two that he got paid all right, but he didn't get paid much more than me. So, was the guy using him too?
Of course.
Right.
That's what this is about. It's about exploitation. I mean, but even when I was working with my father, because I saw the game with that as well. My father, he had these big accounts, and he was getting maybe, we'll say $2,000 or $3,000, because I would go back, after doing the jobs, and he's older, and he didn't know how to use a computer, because he was older in age. So I knew how to use a computer. So what would we do? We would go do the job. I would do all the labor on the job, and as soon as we was finished, he'd be like, all right, let's go get the bill out, because that's how we get paid. And then we would sit in the office, and out of his head, he would draft how he wanted the bill to look. He would give me, he would I would take dictation pretty much. Pause. I know that's my father now. Y'all need to get your heads out of the gutter. I know there's some people out here who will talk about that. But anyway, I'd be on the computer. He would tell me how to draft up the bill. I would draft up the bill, print it out, and then I would take it to the mailbox and mail it out. So I was able to see actually how much my father was getting paid from many of his accounts that he had. You know, he had construction companies, he had the Boston Public Schools, which was a big account. He had Roxbury Community College. You know, he had a couple of high rises. You know, Long Bay Management. Shout out and rest in peace to the Gus Scott family. You know, who were you know, the proprietors of Long Bay Management. They managed a lot of the high rises around Boston, and that's how they was able to make their millions. And we had, you know, the pest control account for that. So my point being is, he'd be making, we'll just say $1,000 off of, you know, off of 1 hour's worth of work. He would get $1,000 for pest control. I would go home, draft up the bill, send it out. I'm getting paid $25 an hour. So for 8 o'clock all the way till 2 o'clock, how many hours is that? 6 hours.
Right.
So 6 times 25, I'm making $150 for 6 hours. Which to me, that's good money for just coming out of the military. But to see my father, you know, make $1,000, you're like, oh shoot. But then, you know, people say, your pocket watching. What you watching his pockets for? But it was the same thing when I worked with Orkin. You know, I'm working with Orkin, and, you know, Orkin, they give you 8% of your route. So you would get 100, what we would call stops. So with 100 stops, each stop is, we'll just say $125 a stop. All right, so 100 stops, that's what? $12,500. You're getting 20% of that. So what's 20% of 12,500? You're getting roughly $2,500 minus taxes. So that brings you down to like $2,200. So I was getting roughly $2,200 a month, and they're making $12,500 a month. See, that's when you start to get the game. Damn, okay, I'm being exploited. How do I get the 12,000? I'm the one that's doing all of the work. Okay, I'm the one running around doing all of the stops. Why are they getting the 12,500 and I'm only getting the 2,200? You already know the answer, because they own the company. They're the ones who went out there and did all of the sales and the marketing in order to get the accounts to come in. So as they say, it pays the cost to be the boss. They paid the cost. They did everything that they needed to do up front to you know, to get the 12,500. Now here's your share, bait jockey. And then there's another thing too in pest control. But we'll talk about that later. Let's finish watching this video. Let's continue. But I did want to just talk about that a little bit.
This is the Mount Zion United Methodist Church in Washington, D.C. Back in 1880, when Washington was still a segregated city, this beautiful building was built by Black artisans, Black plumbers, carpenters, and masons. And mind you, all working under Black supervision. So are many other important public buildings in this city and in cities throughout the South. Today, that sounds remarkable. Even now, Black people have a hard time breaking into the skilled construction trades. The fact is, in the late 1800s, Black people were better represented in many of the skilled trades than they are today. Today, such blatant racism is illegal, and many union leaders would like to see more Black workers in union jobs. But again, good intentions don't always produce good results.
The effect of the government endorsing collective bargaining and the closed shop concept within the union movement was that it basically locked in place to a large degree for a generation or two to come white domination of unions. And when you confer upon a union, in effect, monopoly rights to bargain collectively for the entire workforce, They, in effect, can lay out the conditions, they can set the price for their labor, and they can control entrance to that particular industry.
Restrictive labor laws are just like minimum wages in some ways. In effect, they force inexperienced workers to charge more for their labor and thus keep them from competing for jobs. There are many examples, but one of the most infamous is the Davis-Bacon Act, passed in the racist days of 1931, but still in force today.
The Davis-Bacon Act is a 50-year-old law passed during the Depression, the purpose of which was to prevent employers from undercutting wages at a time when it was very much a seller's market in employment, a very high unemployment rate, and it was a worker protection act. Now, it's very much outdated today because the Davis-Bacon Act, 50 years later, has become a union protection act. The net effect of the Davis-Bacon Act today is that it favors union construction firms.
Most blacks are in non-
So they had, and people always talk about, you know, why do you always, you know, get on the racism, the race card and all of this stuff? Why are you always playing the race card in this regard? Because a lot of times we don't understand, okay, we see the opportunities that are presented to us. Like, for example, you know, they always saying the foreigners that come here, you know, the Spanish people and the Africans, they always say, you know, you black Americans, y'all are lazy acatas and all of that stuff. And you just got to work hard. But you didn't see, you wasn't here to see when they would enact these laws and these policies to be able to keep us out of these unions and out of these trades. See, our parents were the ones that experienced that. And then they showed us that. And then a lot of us, when we see it and we experience it, like, for example, you know, even with, you know, King, he's feeling it, you get discouraged and you're like, you know, something, I don't even want to do this no more. I'm just going to go, you know, figure something else out and go do something else. And then you totally leave the industry. There's plenty of people that I know that, you know, started out in the trades or started out wanting to be in it, and then they experienced a lot of these obstacles, but instead of, you know, trying to overcome the obstacles because they don't know how, they just, you know, put their hands up and then they go to something that has less resistance. And that's why you see that a lot of us will relegate to the underground economy, not just in America, but you see that here in Latin America as well. You know, me living in Panama, you know, that's what I see when you know, I'm around, you know, these Afro Latinos and these Afro-Caribbeans. And I started to think back about when I was growing up. And, you know, I lived in a primarily black neighborhood, thanks to white flight. You know, my neighborhood, as soon as we moved in 1979, all of a sudden you started seeing for sale signs and people moving out of nowhere. I think we had about 5 or 6 people, white families on our street. By the time I became, you know, 6 years old, we only had 3 white families on our street. The majority of them left. And what took their place was the Jamaicans and the Haitians. And when I started looking at how many families on the street were in the trades or were business owners that were black, I can only count 2 people, actually 3. And 2 of them were Haitian and 1 of them was Jamaican. Everybody else that was black, they was either working at the bank. You know, my mother was a nurse, and there was a couple of other, you know, family members that was on the street that, you know, were nurses and worked in city hospital just like she did. You know, there was a couple of them that were paralegals or lawyers or worked as social workers and stuff. So that's pretty much what happened was, and actually, let me get to that link while I was talking.
Construction
a lot of us was was
Stream y'all out, puzzle.
Go ahead.
That stream y'all out.
I can't hear you. Say that again.
You holding on to that stream y'all. Put that out.
Oh, you want me to put the link out? Hold on 1 second.
Yeah,
Sorry.
drop that link. It's open panel.
Anyway. Let me put the link out. Hold on. Is that it? Oh, man. Pause for the cause.
Pause for the
Doing
cause.
too much right now. You got me walking and chewing bubblegum at the same time.
It's possible, though.
Shout out to Auntie Nettie. That's her favorite line. Can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time now. Family and their favorite sayings. Which one of our family members' saying do you like the most?
You said family members saying.
Yeah.
Independent tradesman. Davis.
You don't understand what the question is?
I do understand the question. It's
like Keem got this joke he always talks about, and he always pulls it on people. You know what joke I'm talking about, Keem?
Nah, what's that?
You know which joke, though. Don't act like you don't know.
Nah, I don't remember. Honestly, right?
God damn it. Hold on. I'll tell you in a second. I gotta. Oh, man. What the hell? That's crazy. What the hell?
Halftime. You down by
Manning
one.
boards is not easy, y'all. Especially when you're blind, when your disability is blindness. That's why I be getting on Keem a lot. I'm like, you're supposed to be manning the boards. You can see these better than I can.
Well, you gotta set me up.
When you gonna give me a job, Jody? That's what I heard.
That is exactly what you heard. When you gonna set me up? You can't want me to be great and you don't set me up for greatness.
Mm-hmm. I gotcha. So I just put the link out there. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that behind the scenes.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that.
Let's see.
Bacon excludes them from most government contracts.
Was the Davis-Bacon Act of 1931. And the Davis-Bacon Act says that all workers in federally funded or federally assisted construction projects must be paid the prevailing wage. And if you look on page 6513 of the Congressional Record on March 31st, 1931, you'll see congressional testimony where congressmen will say, see that contractor over there? He brings cheap colored labor up from the South, puts them in cabins, and it's labor of that sort that has to compete, that white Americans are competing against. There was all kinds of testimony in support of the Davis-Bacon Act that demonstrated that they wanted to keep blacks out of construction. And see, the tragedy of it is that the Davis-Bacon Act is still on the books today. And another part of the tragedy is that black congressmen, they also support the Davis-Bacon Act. Now, they support the Davis-Bacon Act because unions want the Davis-Bacon Act. Now, the people who support the Davis-Bacon Act today, they just don't use the same rhetoric. They use a more enlightened rhetoric in support of the Davis-Bacon Act.
So there you have it, gang. That's why we deal with what we deal with, because if nobody told you that there was a gatekeeper, I just showed you where the gatekeeper was, who the gatekeeper is. And we're gonna talk a little bit more about that. I'm just trying to get to my list.
Anybody in the chat that wants to come up on the panel, it is open panel. Do not hesitate. Everyone is invited.
Yep. What he said. But in the meantime, let me show you this one. I like Dr. Umar, even though he gives me the copyright strikes, but he also talks about a little bit about what you just saw as well.
Yeah, he's giving you copyright.
A carpenter, a roofer, a welder, an electrician. 75 years ago, everybody graduated from high school with a skill. Our grandparents lived without a college degree better than we do now because they had the skills that can pay the bills. In order to bankrupt the Black Power movement, they removed the skills training out the high school. They also removed the industries, the factories out the Black communities and turned them into prison. So the Black man became economically irrelevant to the Black woman. Then they infused the welfare programs. The welfare programs was not to help Black women and children. It was to help the Black woman forget about the Black man.
Everybody need to watch this video. This is pure knowledge to wake up people. Check it out. Let me know what you think.
Do you know that we are the only creatures in existence that wait until we get adults to start trying to become an adult? Every other creature learns how to be an adult version of themselves as soon as they're born. I was watching the other day, the horses was born. Yeah, it wasn't no bottles.
They just immediately.
Wasn't no swaddling. No, you get up and they walking immediately. They not doing good, but hey, you born, walk. And every creature learns how to be the adult version of themselves, starting at birth. Imagine how much more effective we'd be if we started learning how to be a wife and a mother at a young age, and a father and a husband. That technically was the way we used to do it before we were kidnapped and Caucasianized by the enemy. We had something called the rites of passage.
Right.
And I don't care what tribe you study, there was always three common things that you see among the rites of passage. Number one, you had to prove an act of valor. You had to show you had courage, because they knew then that cowards cannot keep their nation going. So females and males had to do something. Male might have to go kill a lion, bring it back. Female might have to cross burning coals. Everybody had to do something to prove they had courage. Mm-hmm. The other thing, they would give twigs to each one, showing them that this represents you all as individuals. But 30 of you all in this group, here's 30 twigs, see if you can break them. Nobody would break them. What was the message? When you're alone, you're easily defeated. But whenever we're together, no outside force can break us. Unity.
Right.
And the other one, universal, among all rites of passage. Every young boy had to prove, in theory, that he knew what it meant to be a father and a husband before he could be called a man. And every female had to do the same. So we need the rites of passage, man.
Trade schools are.
What do you think about that, King? Because that's one of the things that I try to wholly, implicitly try to talk about unity, and also the rites of passage. That's another reason why I bring up a lot of history stuff. Reason being is because there were, if you know where you came from, then you know where you're going. The reason that I'm so Black now is because of knowing my family history. Knowing, where I came from. I know all of my family lineage, all the way from, my great-grandparents on all four sides. Because you got four great-grandparents. So I know, and I know, I've actually been to a couple of their burial sites, or where they were born at. Me and Keem, we went down to Blackshear, Georgia, where my mother's father's family is from. And then I've been to Warrenton, Georgia, where my father's family is from. I've been to Macon, Georgia, where my father's mother's family is from. And I've been to Savannah, Georgia, where my mother's family is from. So being able to, know that and be able to put all of the pieces together and then see those things, it allows me the knowledge and the strength to be able to say, okay, this is where my family came from. Okay, my grandfather on my father's side was a Pullman porter. My grandfather on my mother's side, he worked at the scrapyard. He did the hydraulics. That's how he made money. Now, if I want to be, and also my grandfather on my father's side, because I talked to my brother who's a master carpenter now, and also a master plumber. And I asked him, where did you learn all of this from? He says, I learned it from granddad, talking about my father's father. He used to hang around my father's father, and my father's father had a workshop. So he would be there, watching all of the things that my father's father would do. Me, I lived in a house, and I had older brothers, but they would handle all of the work because they was 10 years older than me. And my mother was a single mom. So I really didn't get to see a lot of the stuff that they were doing because they wanted me out of the way. But then we did have Uncle Stevie. Shout out to Uncle Stevie, who was my mother's sister, my aunt's husband. He lived upstairs, and he actually had a workshop in the basement. And because we were homeowners and we owned our home, okay, he had, anytime there was a problem that went on in the home, everybody would look to Uncle Stevie, and Uncle Stevie, being the man of the house, he would have to figure it out. So he created a workshop in the basement, and he started to self-teach himself how to solve these problems, how to install a water heater, how to, fix a plug outlet. Also we had plenty of cars in the yard, because everybody had a car. My mother had a car and they had a car. So the cars would break down a lot. So Uncle Stevie needed to learn how to, fix, basic auto repair. So that's when I became of age, I started learning some of these things that Uncle Stevie would teach me. And then later, when I started working with my father, I learned the pest control aspect of it. And then I started working along with my brother, and he started showing me, basic construction stuff. But then I would go to work, and I would work with a lot of these white kids and Spanish kids, and they would be master carpenters or, tile installers. They know how to, install flooring. And I would go with them, and I'm like, how the hell did you learn all of this stuff? Man, I used to be around, I learned it from my father when I was 12, 13 years old. He would take me on jobs with him. See, a lot of us who grew up in the inner city who were Black, we didn't have that because, as you saw with the history, they kept us out of those, out of the trades. And just like what Dr. Umar Johnson said, we would learn the trade from school, and then after the civil rights movement, they took the trades out of school, so we couldn't even get the trades from school to be able to learn some of this stuff. So when we graduated high school, we were unskilled laborers. And I'm gonna well, I'll just say it. Our choices were, because I have a video who talks about it. When you got out of school, you either went to college, you either went to trade school, you either went to the military, or you went to jail. Now, you could either choose one of those three things, or the other thing will be chosen for you. So it was kind of like me when I was in the military. Like in the military, they had this saying called choose your rate, choose your fate. Okay, meaning the job that you chose would show, you know, the lifestyle that you would be living. Because in the military, when you was in the Navy, the rate was the job. And, you know, there was a whole bunch of different jobs on the boat. Some were easy, like, you know, a person who was an operations specialist, all they did was they would look at the radars and all of the navigation systems that was on the boat. Their only job was that when they was, so if the boat was docked, they had no job to do. So they would be gone pretty much until it was time for the boat to go back to sea. So their job was pretty easy. Me, I was in logistics, supply. So my job, as I said before, was like working for Amazon. You know, I was the person, or Home Depot, or, you know, what's it called? What's the auto repair shop? I can't even think. I'm having a brain fog right now, but any of those auto repair repair shops where they got all of the repair parts and stuff like that. That's who the SK, which we call storekeeper, was in the military. They call them now logistics specialists. So my job pretty much was kind of easy too, because we usually kept the normal business hours, whether we was in port, docked, or we was underway in the water. So when we was in the water, my job was basically to be a store for the repair parts, like a Home Depot. When we was docked, we was to go to the supply warehouse and make sure that we would restock on all of the supplies that were taken when we were underway. So my job was to take on those stores, you know, go to the warehouse, go restock, make sure, you know, take inventory when we got the stock, and, you know, wear, care, and stow all of the supplies in our storerooms that we had on the ship. But we would do that between 8 and 4. After 4 o'clock, we done. There isn't, unless we had duty that night, where, you know, if you stood duty, that means that you stood security watch for the ship. But then you had the person who had the hardest jobs, which were the engineers on the ship, and then the boatswain mates, or the deck seamen. Deck seamen were the people who really didn't know what job they wanted. So they called it the ATD, apprenticeship program. Oh, you don't know what job you want? Well, you could, be an apprentice. That's how the recruiters would sell it. You can be a part of the apprenticeship program where, you know, you can just go on the ship and, you know, you can try out each job in each position, and then you can figure out which one that you want. And some people would say, yeah, all right, cool, that'll be fine. But nobody told them that while you was an apprentice, you would be a deck seaman. That means you actually had the hardest job on the ship. Because whether you was in port or you was underway, you was working usually 12-hour shifts. When you was in port, you was painting the side of the ship, or you was grinding the deck of the ship in order to get the non-skid up, and putting down new non-skid, and doing all of this laborious activities on the ship. And then when you got underway, you would have to stand watch. And usually your watches were between 8 and 12 hours. So I guess they did that to force people to want to go get an easier job. So it's the same thing in the civilian world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they want the easy job, so they would try to go to college. Some people, they want to make money fast, so they go to trade school, or they join the military like I did. And then there's some people who don't know what to do, and they, you know, are relegated to the underground economy, which is beg, borrowing, stealing, selling drugs, or whatever. And then their rate is chosen for them, which is usually the penitentiary. So that's one of the reasons why I am here, is to try to show you that there are other ways to get out and make money so that you can be free. And even though we were banned from the trades, or there were gatekeepers of the trade, that doesn't mean that there aren't ways for us to get into the trade, especially now, because they're now needing more and more people, and they're deporting a lot of these immigrants from Latin America and Africa, because they're trying to, as the Orange Man says, make America great again, bring it back to where it was just us FBAs and the white folks. So now they're trying to, deport all of these immigrants, and which is going to bring in opportunities for us to be able to take advantage of. They're also bringing up these trade schools. But see, the thing is, they're not going to tell you about these things. They're not going to tell you about trade schools. They're not going to tell you, they're not going to just walk you into and take you by the hand for you to go do these things. As you saw, a lot of times they were gatekeeping. So you would have to find your own ways in. But once you found your own way in, they couldn't stop you. And that's what it was with me. When I got out of the military, luckily I had a father who, showed me the pest control game. And then once I moved to Atlanta, I ended up getting into a car accident, which harmed me from being able to work for a pest control company. And then I ended up learning about hazardous waste removal, which really is dealing with petrochemicals. I did a lot of laboratory contamination cleanings, which is good money. I did a lot of oil spill cleanups during the 2010 BP oil spill. And these certification courses, they're only like a week. And usually they're between, $300 and $1,000. So think about that. You paying between $300 and $1,000. You take a course for 40 hours or a week or whatever. And then once you take the test and get your certification, that will now up your marketability and also increase the amount of money that you can demand. That's pretty much the trajectory that most of us need to be on. If you want to go to college, I would recommend that you would, start with a certification first. Take a trade first, because that will allow you to get the money to be able to pay for college where you don't got to be in debt. And put you on a plateau, on a stable foundation. These are the things that I try to push, to the people that are younger than me. But that's my story. Let's see who's in here. Nope, nobody's in here yet. Let me see who's in the comments. Oh, there is somebody here. Hold on.
Me, nigga.
Oh, you got back on? Watch your mouth, man. Maybe better yet, watch your tongue.
Oh, you hear me for that?
Where'd that line come from? Watch your mouth, better yet, watch your tongue.
Sounds like a bar from somewhere.
I'm doing this free. This one's for fun.
Oh, man.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Did they do that sound like heaven? 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sounds like Redman.
Well, it's the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That was LL Cool J. LL Cool J said that. Little
okay.
History. I know. Hold on. Let me get to the comments. See if we had anybody comment on anything. Like and subscribe, people. Cost you nothing to press those buttons. All right. Shout out to Two Tone. What's going on, Two Tone? Thanks for watching. Who else is on here? Ronin Travels. Shout out to you for watching. Thank you. And, yep. Put out the link so anybody wanted to show up. Chalupe, what's going on, Chalupe? Chalupe, aren't you in the trades as well? I could have sworn that you also are in the trades. What is it that you do for a living, Two Tone? You over there in the West Coast. Shout out to you. Who's that? Oh, Foreign Skies. What's going on, fam? Hope you're enjoying the show that we got going on right now. Okay. Foreign Skies.
Right, people in the chat, pull up. Pull up.
Thanks, Foreign Skies. Foreign Skies said he likes to stream right now. Cool. Hope that you like the information.
Wall Street is starting to pay attention.
Shares of Universal Technical Institute are up 53%.
It's rare, but some schools like Universal Technical Institute and Lincoln Tech also happen to be publicly traded companies. In fact, they've quietly become among two high-performing small-cap stocks with a market value under $2 billion on Wall Street. I'm talking about rallies of 335% and 220% over the last 2 years. Compare that to the Russell 2000 index, which has increased only 12% over the same amount of time. So what's driving these rallies? Experts say there is a demand boom in skilled trade jobs. A 2024 Deloitte report found that nearly 2 million manufacturing jobs could remain unfilled by 2033 if the skilled trade training gap is not addressed. Electricians, HVAC, construction, welding, you name it, we need it. But why? Skilled trade baby boomers are retiring and we don't.
You hear that, y'all? They got a lot of jobs out there because the baby boomers are retiring and they didn't train their predecessors to take over. So them trying to keep us out has come and bit them in their behind. And now they have no choice but to hire us. So now they got all of these trade schools that are out there that are looking for, and even I believe it was Mark Zuckerberg. He and Bill Gates, they're putting all of this money to start training electricians and people to build these data centers for AI storage, AI data centers. Because if you're in AI, guess what? AI needs a place to store all of that data, which means they need a building that has a lot of electricity. So instead of, waiting for the unions to do it, they're creating their own training centers so that the training centers will be able to build these data centers. And these are opportunities for us to be able to take advantage. So those who are trying to get to freedom, this is your opportunity, to be able to go to some of these training centers. I didn't have a list, but I will create a list. And anybody that's interested in, wanting to go to trade school, you can shoot me an email at blackcleaneratl@gmail.com. And I'll have a list, but they did say in the video some of the trade schools that are taking people, and a lot of these courses, as they say, they're not even long courses. A lot of them will be a week course if you're doing restoration. If you want to do construction usually be a year course Some courses that they are 6 months, and then they'll put you out in the field and make you an apprentice, and then you just be an apprentice for 2 years. So there are a lot of those out there. Let me continue.
Have enough young people to backfill their jobs. There also happens to be a federal push to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. The U.S. needs more trade workers to modernize infrastructure, build new data centers for AI, and feed the supply chain. That's turning what used to be an alternative career path into an attractive opportunity for many young people. Even though, generally speaking, higher paying jobs still do require at least a 4-year degree. Once you consider the fact that trade school can be completed in as little as 6 months, you can understand why this is an attractive choice for people whose primary goal is finding a secure job. It gets students out of school with a desirable skill, which can lead to comparable or even higher returns on investment when compared to traditional 4-year university degrees. But these stocks are really sensitive to something called student starts. It's a way to gauge student interest as well as how much money is being brought in through their tuition. Lincoln Tech posted 21% student start growth last quarter, its 6th consecutive quarter of double-digit gains. And after a series of strong quarters, Universal Technical Institute's student start figure recently came in below expectations, causing the stock to fall 20%. So what's the bottom line? Wall Street is reacting positively to what trade schools say they have. Multiple job offers for every graduate.
Trade school or college, let's get into it. The numbers are in, they don't lie. 92.5% of students that go to college don't even work in what they majored in. The other number, $200,000 in debt for going to college. And 85.2% of those jobs are gonna get replaced by AI in 6 months. When you get out of trade school, minimum 6 months, you're out on the road making 6 figures a year easy. Like and follow for part 2 when we interview a college student and see what he's doing today.
In the United States, the trade schools are absolutely of value. In yesterday's video, Blair and I had a long conversation about education and our thoughts on education and about our kids going to school. And I mentioned my dad had given us 3 choices: either go to college, go to trade school, or go to the military. And those were the 3 options that we had. And there was a comment yesterday from Sue that asked, are the vocational schools, trade schools, are they of value in the United States? In the United States, the trade schools are absolutely of value. I chose to go to college, but my younger brother, he didn't want to go to college. He said it was not the right option for him. So he chose to take the trade school route. And he graduated from high school. And at 18, 19 years old, he went straight to Tulsa Welding School. And I think it was a 2-year program. Came out of that program a certified master welder, and while I was still in college, he went out and got a very high-paying job and has maintained his skill set for the rest of his life. He's just didn't need college. That certification through his welding school absolutely was sufficient for him to get a very good job. And so you can definitely go that trade route, become a certified electrician, a certified plumber, get the training, get the certification, and go out and do, if you're a plumber, you could go work for a company or you could go work for yourself. The U.S. needs a lot more people to do trade type jobs. And there's a big push right now in the country to say we don't need everyone to have a college degree. Everyone doesn't need to be a doctor or a lawyer. We actually need people to be certified tradesmen. You'll always need electricians. You'll always need plumbers. You'll always need those people who can handle those other services. You'll never find a plumber who's, without a job.
There was an entire generation of young men and women who were told that they must go to university. And these folks took out an enormous amount of financial support to do so. They were told technology is coming and there's going to be so much automation of all of the other kinds of jobs that you may do in trade school. You should go to university and protect yourself. Well, lo and behold, it's turned out to be the exact opposite. So you could have gone to trade school, been an electrician, been a plumber, made a couple $100,000, married somebody, she does a good job. Now all of a sudden she also makes $150,000, $200,000 a year. You're making $400,000 and you have no debt. That is the key. You have no debt. When you make $400K and have no debt, I'm sorry, but that is probably actually better than being the doctor making $1 million. I would bet that engineers are more likely to have their jobs replaced than welders and plumbers.
But a growing number of students have started to...
Okay. Let me take this off. So yeah, as we heard from these different videos, the speakers talking about the other paths to success, and they're seeing that trade school is a great path to take advantage of, especially because one, you usually are not going to have a large college debt because you're not in college that long, or you're not in school that long. You start to get into the field a whole lot quicker to be able to start earning money. Also, having a trade, one of the benefits to having a trade is that it creates independence, because you're not relying on the system. You're actually the builder of the system. And then if you're a craftsman and you have the skills and you've mastered your craft, your skills will allow you to be able to create a business to continue and to make, a big bag doing it. These jobs that the trades give you are survival tools. And they're also these skills are also tools for legacy building. As I said in the beginning, a person who knows how to build a house doesn't worry about being homeless, because he knows how to build a roof over his head. And these are the tools that we need. A lot of us, we're inner city kids. We grew up in apartments, so we didn't get a chance to be able to see a lot of these and experience a lot of what the people who are in the suburbs got to experience. For the mere fact that we wasn't exposed. We was exposed to government assistance. We was exposed to going to the store to get everything. Our food came from the store. Our clothes came from the store. So the only thing that we knew that was important was we needed money to be able to go to the store. But we never knew how to make money. Meanwhile, the people who lived out in the suburbs, they had garages where they could store tools and equipment. And their parents, were educated because they had to maintain their houses on their own. So the kids would learn and pick up some of these trades. And then, some of these people also were tradesmen. So they was able to become apprentices of these tradesmen. If it wasn't for Job Corps and a lot of these trade schools and military, a lot of us would be out here, as they say, on a boat without a paddle. But this is what this is for, exposing the opportunities to the people who need it, and showing, the ways to be able to get into the trades and how to thrive. Because that's one of the things, I wish somebody would have told me about getting my pest control certification when I was 17 years old or 18 years old. I wish somebody would have told me, when I was 13 years old, practice laying tile, or practice even back in the days, we used to watch shows where the kids was building tree houses in forts. Nobody taught us how to build a tree house in the fort. What skills were you had access to growing up that you saw, Keen?
Well, I just see a lot of carpentry growing up. Obviously, barbering. It's one of the things that I took to. construction work. I seen all of that shit growing up.
But who was doing it when you was watching?
The males in my life.
Care to elaborate?
Well, I was more on the basketball court until I had to fend for myself. It pretty much came at about like 14, maybe. I think my aunt gave me the boot. She was tired of me. She couldn't control me no more. Shit my ass off the job floor. So at that point, I had to start making decisions for me and taking care of myself. So I wasn't under a roof anymore, and you know, once you kicked me out the door, it was like not really my responsibility anymore.
I hear that. Now, if you was on the basketball, we just playing devil's advocate. Do you think your life would have changed had you had someone who was a plumber's apprentice, and instead of taking you to go play basketball, they took you on plumbing jobs? Because you started playing basketball at an early age. What age did you start playing basketball?
I feel like I started taking basketball at like 6. Yeah. And I feel like, you know, with having that talent, if there was someone like that would have been mentor status and took me under their wing and was like, nah, nigga, you ain't gonna do this, you're gonna do this. You're not gonna do that, you're gonna do this, and was able to really put their foot in my ass, bro, I would have been a problem. I just sat and watched King Anderson. I feel like on a panel not too long ago, it was letting known like that's like, you know, distant family status.
Shout out to CC and the Anderson family in Queens.
I feel like he had that guidance, bro. That nigga had his mom, so even though his pops wasn't there, that nigga had someone in his life that was really trying to put their foot in his ass and like, nah, bro. I wasn't with my mom. I was with my aunt. So did she really care to truly do that? Like, no, nigga. This is what you're gonna do. I would have been fucking great.
Shout out to Mr. Peppers. Mr. Peppers, you the man that needs to be on the stream right now. I want to hear your story. You know, you were a truck driver. You got your CDL. You know, tell people your story and you know how was it that you went about getting your CDL and to be able to do truck driving and stuff. You know, that's what really I done told my story on here. For those who were interested, I definitely would love to hear you all's story. Hold on. Let me put it in the chat again, the link. What the heck did I do? Because I could talk about me all day and the water damage restoration trade and how it benefited me. But I want to get to people who went into other trades. I want to hear from the HVAC people. I want to hear from the electricians, the plumbers. You know, we heard Keen's story. He took up plumbing, but he'd rather be a baller than a plumber. Which is all well and good. You can do both. But I was just saying, I understand you wish that you would have had a mentor that would have put you on the court, because you would have been, you know, you really enjoyed that. And we talked about this last week, passion over purpose. So basketball is your passion. But as we know, passion really doesn't pay the bills. It's purpose that pays the bills. And that's one of the reasons that I chose to do this live stream, was to be able to continue that. Okay, if we're going to focus on purpose over passion, then what is our purpose? Our purpose is to be, you know, out here building communities, building our own communities, getting the skills that we need in order to build our own community. But how do we do that if we don't know how to do it? Here's the information. You know, there's trade schools out here, there's certification courses, you know, there's apprenticeship programs. You know, these are the things that will put you on the trajectory to be able to get your freedom and your independence. We already seen what happens when, you know, you focus on your passion. Like you said, okay, you was focusing on your passion, which was basketball, and then you said that you got older and your guardian couldn't control you anymore. So what did she do? She put you out. Now you upstream with no paddle or no boat. So now you got to figure it all out.
Job.
But had you been, you know, in the trades, it probably would have been a whole lot easier for you, because you'd been like, all right, let me go, you know, become somebody's apprentice. Let me go take this plumbing. Go get this plumbing job real quick. Or even, because I know a lot of plumbers that are 18, 19 years old that will go out with they bag and go, as we just talked about, go install a water heater and make, you know, $200 real quick. Go unclog a toilet because they got the tools and make, you know, $400 real quick. And this is legal money. You know, you're not taking any penitentiary chances. You're making the same money as a drug dealer. And not taking the risk that a drug dealer is taking if they get caught. Same thing with pest control. You know, when I was doing pest control, when I was in the States, you know, I go, you know, spray somebody's house. If it was a single family house, I'm gonna go make $125. And it's only gonna take me about an hour to do it. If I had a duplex or a triplex, okay, that's $75 a unit. And usually they have a basement, whether it's finished or unfinished. So that's, if it's finished, then it's another $75. If it's unfinished, it's $30. So I'll go do a duplex, that's $180. And it's still gonna take me that same hour to do it like it would have taken me the single family home. If it's a triplex or a 3-family, that's $230.
Right.
Excuse me, $250. $55 because it's 75 a unit. So that's $225 plus 30. So $255. You see what I'm saying? And it's only going to take me about an hour to an hour and a half to do it. So I just made, you know, $255, which is, you know, somebody's daily take home. And some people ain't even making that. I would make that in an hour. And I told you all of this story on a previous, when I used to stay with my when my baby moms used to stay with me in my apartment when I lived in Braintree. And she worked 2 jobs. And, you know, it wouldn't even be busy because I had my own company. So I'm sitting at home waiting for the phone to ring. And since the phone ain't ringing, I'll just be sitting there, either sleep on the sofa, or, you know, I'll be playing video games. And she'd have to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning. She'd see me, you know, not working, and she'd be shaking her head. And she'd go out the door to go do her job. You know, she was working, you know, at the mall. And then at the end of the week, she would get paid, and she would come home all happy and smiling. Oh, I just made $250. Here's my check. Boom. I just made another, you know, because she had 2 jobs. Oh, I just made another $125. There go my check. So she would make, you know, $375, or sometimes she would work overtime and she would make $400. And then she'd look at me like, see what I'm doing? And then the phone would ring and a job would come in, and it'd be a 3-family. And then another job would come in and it'd be a 2-family. And I would go out in 2 hours or 3 hours, and after a week of not working, and then come home and then match it. Oh, you made $400 this week? Yeah, so did I. I just made it in 2 hours.
A lot of time left in this.
Say it again.
No, I'm listening to you.
So that was the benefits of, you know, having your own business and actually having a trade that somebody needed, where, you know, she was dependent on the system, dependent on somebody to pay her a paycheck to do her job. And if the moment that they got tired of her, or she did something that went against the company, she'd be let go. And if she was let go, then now she would have to start going door to door looking for another job. And Robert Kiyosaki said this. He said that it's better to look for more customers than to look for another boss. Because what you're looking for when you're looking for a boss is somebody to exploit you. When you're looking for customers, you're looking for somebody that you can provide a service in exchange for your skills. So,
Readiness, opting to attend a trade school, aka a technical or vocational school. The main purpose of these schools is to train you for a job in a specific industry. They usually offer diplomas or certificates rather than an associate's or a bachelor's degree, and they focus on careers that take specialized hands-on skills, stuff like carpentry, cosmetology, welding, cooking, or plumbing. That means you get out into the workforce ASAP, with many trade school programs only lasting between 6 months and 2 years. It can also be a lot cheaper than traditional college, costing between $12,000 and $20,000 per year. Or if you want to start working immediately, you might go for an apprenticeship program. In these programs, you'll learn a trade through a combination of classes and on-the-job training. These programs are usually pretty affordable and can even be paid for through government funding or your employer. Plus, since you're working, you'll be earning money in a field like plumbing, carpentry, or cybersecurity instead of paying to go to school. These programs can last 1 to 6 years, and at the end, you can also get a certificate recognizing your skills in that field.
In the bustling workshops and training centers of trade schools, students embark on a journey of hands-on learning, skill development, and career preparation. These dedicated learners, from recent high school graduates to experienced professionals seeking new opportunities, are mastering the tools, techniques, and knowledge needed to excel in their chosen trades. With the guidance of industry-experienced instructors and support from a close-knit learning community, trade school students engage in intensive, practical training that prepares them for success in fields such as construction, automotive technology, healthcare, and culinary arts. In this video, we'll explore the dynamic world of trade school education and discover the focused curricula, state-of-the-art facilities, and industry partnerships that empower students to build rewarding careers. We'll delve into the unique challenges and triumphs of trade school students and the vital role these institutions play in meeting the workforce needs of our communities.
Humans only spend money on 3 things, and 3 things only. The first is a solution. People will pay almost anything to make a problem disappear. Pain, stress, debt, loneliness. That's why people pay a doctor without blinking. The second is convenience. The richest companies on earth are the most easiest. They just made something faster, simpler, less of a headache. People pay a premium their whole lives just to skip the hard way. And the third, my favorite, is an experience. People will pay a stupid amount of money to feel something they can't get anywhere else. Starbucks charges $5 for cheap coffee because you're not paying for the coffee. You're paying for the feeling. That's...
This one is real profound because those are the three things that we pay for. We pay for problem solving, we pay for convenience or comfort, or we pay for an experience. And these are the things that having a skill like a trade allows you to do. So that's why you are always marketable. See, a lot of us, we try to go towards the comfort and the convenience. But because it's a comfort or convenience, it's a luxury. And sometimes, the people who are afforded luxuries, what's the word that I'm looking for? Either one, because I've been there, they don't want to give you the money. Okay, they'd rather give it to someone who looks like them. A lot of times, if it's a problem that they want solved, and you're able to show that you can solve their problem for half the cost, that's when they're going to want to turn to you and give you the money. And then that's how you're able to advance. Because that's really what a lot of the Latin Americans did when they immigrated here to America. And that's what I did. I was able to take a page out of their book. Meaning, when I watched them. We all would work for these different companies, whether it be ServPro, a service master, or a construction company. They would go in and learn the trade and learn and be able to get on the job training and be able to practice it. And then once they were able to get the on the job training and practice it, then once they learned it, then they would go out and they would start to undercut the person who taught them. And that's another reason why a lot of people would try to keep certain people out of the business, because they don't want you to start, taking their customers or taking their market share. But, when I started seeing that, I was like, okay, yeah, that's smart. Okay, because I'm doing the job anyway. All right. Because that's what a lot of times would happen. I would be working for, prime example, I was working for this one company, water damage restoration. I'm going all the way out to the suburbs or to, we'll just say, and I was living in Atlanta during that time. So I'm going all the way out to Gwinnett County, but I live in DeKalb County. Stone Mountain area. I would go there, 8 o'clock, 8:30 sign in. They would then turn around and send me back to my own city. And there would be customers right in my same subdivision who was looking for their services, for me to come and solve their problem. They had a flood, they had a washing machine leak on them. And then my company would charge them $2,000 in order to fix their problem. And because it was an insurance situation, they would just call their insurance company, and the insurance company, would pay the bill. And I'm sitting here like, I live in your same subdivision. Instead of calling this company all the way out in, Duluth or in Norcross, you could have just called me, because I mean, and I would have just came right next door. Oh, well, I like to use the major brand chains. But guess who the major brand chain chose to come fix your problem? They chose me, the dude who lives next door to you. I just got on their uniform. I'm still doing the same work. And see, that's the key right there, is we need to be able to, a lot of times, develop our skills so that we can cut out the middleman and be able to take care of our own, because that's what they do. They take care of their own. But in order for us to do that, we have to learn these skills, learn these trades. It's important.
The whole list: solutions, convenience, experiences. Pick the one you'll be the best at, and the rest follow. Humans only spend
big money, playboy, your time's up. Where them gangsters, where them dimes at? They shooting. Major.
Yeah, that's me in my cleaning industry, doing a carpet cleaning job. That job right there, to do that do that upholstery cleaning, that was actually $150 right there. Carpet cleaning, which is also a good trade. All you need is the equipment, and then they have a 3-day course that'll teach you how to use the equipment and to proper clean, which is really good.
For his people. That's why, you know what the #1 job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is? Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job. Why do you think Gary Owen can't cross over and he already white and been in comedy for 25 years? If what I say ain't the case. It's a cabal, it's a consortium. They rock with who they rock with and they don't with who they don't. But I'm not scared of being the competition any more than you were when you lined up.
Cat went off.
He said, why do you...
All right. I think I was able to make my point. People are going to mess with who they mess with. It doesn't matter what industry that you're in. And that's why I put that clip out there. Because even in the trades industry, as you saw from the beginning, everybody is going to take care of their own. And we need to be able to do the same. And then when we're able to have the same skills that they have, that levels the playing field right there. You're able to catch up because you're able to do the same things that they do instead of coming to them looking for help. Let me see if I think
Gary Owen hasn't crossed over.
I want to show you this one clip that I had that kind of spoke to that a little bit. I thought it was profound. Hold on. Where is it? Were you watching a game or something?
Yeah, FIFA on right now. US is getting their ass kicked right now.
Okay. Blacks and trades.
In the 1970s.
That one already.
Just had an issue with the fuse in the basement.
Males had to do something. Male.
Can understand why the students out of school.
There we go.
All right, well, it doesn't look like anybody's coming up, but I do appreciate you all watching in the chat.
In the 1970s, they decided to make the black
My background was good.
I can can't see it. I'm looking at another screen right now. Hold on.
Nah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Man. Don't lose your eyesight.
Here's a part of Black history that rarely gets talked about. Our
They'll do it in Houston. They'll do it in Dallas.
This video will blow your mind. I want you to watch this video to the end.
You know, people ask me many times, why are third world leaders corrupt? I mean, every country in Africa has leadership problems. Every country in the Caribbean has leadership problems. You know why? It's simple. I figured it out. It's very simple. Why are there so many lack of great leaders in your country among Black African people? Or even Mexicans, Asian people? Here's why. Because the oppressor did not do what Jesus said. He made sure you never knew what he knew. Now, these are very interesting people, you know. They're interesting. Here's what they do. They say, okay, we ain't going to teach you nothing that we know. So all we're going to teach you is how to grow cane and cotton. Pick cotton, that's all you have to do. Go get water. That's it. You don't need to know anything else, they say. And so for 294 years, you become an expert cotton picker, an excellent cane cutter. But the problem is, he doesn't teach you how to make the cane into sugar. He doesn't teach you how to turn the cotton into cloth. He keeps that to himself. After a while, you become unruly because you multiply. And so you tell him, it's more of us than you. We're going to kill you if you don't let us go. So he does something very simple. Every single situation is the same. He said, okay, I don't want to fight you. I don't want to fight you. Tell you what, you could have the cotton field and you could have the cane because I don't want to fight you. I'm gone. And he leaves. So here you are. You call yourself free now because you got a cotton field and a cane. The problem is he conditioned you to wear his clothes and to drink tea with sugar. And he leaves you with a sugar cane field and a lot of cotton. Sharp guy. They're smart. After a few years, you begin to realize, I can't wear cotton and I can't put cane in tea. So he comes back. And he says, what's your problem? You say, look, I can't turn cotton into cloth. He said, okay, tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy the cotton from you at my price because you can't use it. So you can't set the price because you can't use it. I'll tell you how much I'm going to buy it from you for. I'll buy the cane, you cut it at my price. So they take it away, and they turn it into cloth and sugar. Then they come back to you, and they sell you the sugar at their price and the cloth at their price. And here you are now, instead of being directly oppressed, you are economically oppressed. They didn't train you to be producers. And now you thought you were free. The kind of work I do is to teach you how to turn cotton into cloth. So that you become free to get your farms back and know how to convert cotton into cloth. And instead of just being consumers, you become producers.
Let me know what you think in the comment section. And I want you to subscribe to this channel for more videos.
See, that's what I understand. And that's, you know, what I see when I look out, and that's my life experience. A lot of times they try to teach you to only do one thing. And to shout out to Mr. Henderson, salute to you for your comment. Yeah, about the educational system. Keem, can you read that?
Congrats. The education system discarded our skilled trades and said all the students strive to go to college. All the students should strive to go to college.
Exactly. See, and that's why they pushed us to go to college, because when you go to college, and I'm not saying that there's any problems with going to college, there's pros and cons to everything. But, and I'm not even gonna say but, one of the cons to going to college is a lot of the things that you learn when you're in college is similar to what the guy was saying in this post. You're only learning one aspect of it. You're becoming a what they would say a nut, cog, or screw in the corporate machine. And without the machine, what you learned from that college is useless, because you need the machines. You need to be plugged into that machine for you to be able to for that college degree or that knowledge to be able to work. But when you take up a trade or a skill, you don't need to be a nut, cog, or screw, because you're a wrench. You are a tool which helps build the machine. And you can work independent of the machine. He said, you know how to pick cotton, but can you turn that cotton into a shirt? Because that's the thing that makes the money, is, turning it into that finished product. You know how to pick sugar cane, but can you break the sugar cane down and make it into cane sugar? Because that's the thing that makes the money. Oh, you don't know how to do that? All right, well, guess what?
So what are we advertising and promoting on this one? Are we saying that college is outdated and creating debt dealing with college? Because if you ain't set up and you ain't got them type of parents that are setting you up in life where you go to college and when you finish college you don't have any debt, you're losing going to college. So what are we saying tonight, Cuzzo?
We're saying if you really want to be able to succeed in life, having a trade is important. That's what we're saying. It's actually the foundation. We're not, speaking against college and being totally anti-college, but we are being more pro-trade, because, as I said, okay, if you wanted to go to college, if you took up a trade first, it'd be the trade that would actually put you through college. Just like how they show, and I hate to be negative, but it's just a thing that they always talk about, girls in college going to be exotic dancers in order to pay for tuition. Why not take up a trade instead of going to be an exotic dancer?
Yeah, true, but that's not everybody's reality.
I know that, but I'm just saying it's just you often hear it. I mean, even in raps, hoes wishing they didn't have to strip the pay.
True. But if
everybody,
they don't know no better.
Say again.
If they don't know no better, until they know better, they ain't gonna do better. That part.
So, but somebody sold them on that. They watched the movie The Players Club, as you saw. There was girls selling the dream. So, okay, so if you got somebody that's selling the dream of, being a stripper in order to pay for school tuition, well, then somebody needs to sell the dream of taking up a trade, being a plumber, being an electrician, being a carpenter, being an HVAC, being a cleaner. Because those trades will definitely help you. Even the other trades, braiding hair. We got plenty of people who are hairstylists in our family. That's a good trade. And
bro, we got a cousin that's nice with the braiding. Shout out King King. Pink Hands. Go look Pink Hands up on Facebook. You're in the Boston area. One of our cousins.
Your mic is muffled. You need to clear it up because I didn't hear. I couldn't hear you.
All right, my bad. I feel like I was too far away. Go look up Pink Hands on Facebook. It's one of our cousins. She's a beast with the braiding. Any style, whatever you want, she got you. Go look her up. Once again, Tink's Hands. Tinks Hands. Shout out to my cousin.
Yeah, because nowadays everything is expensive. You know, they're pricing us out of everything. But if you have a skill, you're able to create a business. Now, instead of running to your boss demanding a raise, all you got to do is just raise your rates to complement today's expenses. Because that's what happens with the economy. Okay, inflation goes up, bills go up. You work a job, you can't ask for an increase in your wages, but the company that you work for can increase their prices. They can increase their prices and pay you the same amount of money.
Facts.
McDonald's burgers is $6 now. How much does a McDonald's employee make? So they making more money.
In certain places, the minimum wage is different. Right now, you could be a McDonald's employee, nigga, and be making $10 an hour. Other places, it's like 15, 12.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's all. I'm just trying to, make the point to reframe everything. Trades are not fallback jobs. Trades are freedom skills.
Freedom choice.
Exactly.
I can agree with that because looking into more of what you consider being free and having freedom, work hard, put your mind to a goal, have something other than going to work for somebody else that you're working towards. Yeah. And these type of jobs that we're talking about on the panel tonight are sources to create that type of situation for you in life.
Exactly.
But they say black people lazy. They don't want to do no work. Yeah. Is that the problem too?
Exactly. Because most people see labor, but builders, they see leverage. There was a saying that they used to always say, a foolish man sees difficulty in opportunity. A wise man sees opportunity in difficulty.
Break that down and really analyze that, bro.
You just said it. Okay. Let me give an example. I'm sitting in this Waffle House, right? And I'm looking for a worker because, I can't be every place at once. And this girl, she's doing a real good job. She's over there. She's, breaking down her section because she's about to get off of work. She's washing the dishes. She's mopping the floors. And I'm seeing how diligent she's working. And then I said, would you, how much are they paying you to do this? And she was all like, oh, I get paid, $4 an hour plus my tips. And I said, would you do this same, how about you come work with me? You know what I'm saying? I'll pay you double than what you're worth, what you're making, and you'll still get tips. Nah, I wouldn't want to do that. I'm good. She sees the work that she's doing as being hard labor, and she really is looking for an easier job. Versus, okay, knowing that the value of the job that she's doing right now is really worth way more than she's getting paid right here at Waffle House. She got to go to Waffle House and work and do this job every time she comes in. And every day she's leaving with probably, $80, $90, because she's only getting paid minimum wage plus her tips. And then I'm telling her, okay, well, you can come with me. I'm going to pay you, $20 an hour, and you still get tips doing the job that you're doing. But because it's more, it's more cleaning, she's seeing the cleaning aspect of it and saying, I don't want to do it because it's too difficult. Versus seeing the more money aspect of it, like, oh, you're going to pay, all I got to do is mop this floor and you're going to pay me $20 or $30 to mop this floor? Yeah. You're only getting paid $4, right? For $23 an hour, right? And that's what I'm saying. This person is seeing the difficulty and the opportunity that I'm presenting to her. Versus a person looking at the opportunity. I mean, looking at the difficult thing in the job and seeing the opportunity. I buy fixer-uppers. I bought them, or I bought 2 fixer-uppers, and we're actually going to get into that later. The fixer-upper, when you look at the property, it's very blighted. Meaning, anybody who goes up in there and they look at it and they see it, they ain't gonna touch it. But a person who is a builder, they're gonna say, all right, well, cool. All I gotta do is call the junk removal people. They're gonna charge me $600 to come clear all of this out and make this a blank canvas. Okay, so he calls the junk removal people. They come with the box truck. They come up in there and they just trash everything out, clear everything out. They get paid $600 to do that. It takes them maybe 2 or 3 hours to do that. They're gone. Now it's a blank canvas. Everything's all clean or whatever. Now he calls in his plumbers. They can call in the plumbers. The plumbers come in. They make sure all of the pipes and everything is, connected and functioning. They call the electrician to come up in there. They make sure all of the wires are all connected. So now you have water coming in the building. You got electric coming into the building. Then he calls up in his sheetrock people. The sheetrock people come up in there. They give him a price. They re-sheetrock the building. So now the thing looks brand new. And then they call in the painters. The painters come and paint the building. Now it's all nice and clean. Somebody comes up in there, cleans the floors. Now he done put out maybe $2 or $3 grand for this building. After he done did all of that he did, now the building is worth $100,000. That's what I'm saying. I see people see the difficulty of a project, but because they have the know-how to be able to fix all of that, they take that project on, and then once they are able to, finish the project and get it to back to normal, or restore the project. Now the project has a whole lot more value than it did when they first saw it. It's the same thing. You go to the auction. You deal with cars. When you're checking out a car, what are the things that you're looking at, Keen?
Well, there's a process of that, of course. Damn, I'm not no mechanic. I just know little certain things to look for at the end of the day. You know.
Go ahead. You're not. You see, and I'm trying to make a point here. You're not even a mechanic, but you know how, in your knowledge of cars and buying cars, a car that has more value than
in that sense,
retail. If you was to buy
I like luxury
from
cars.
a car lot, from a used car lot.
Right. I like luxury cars, so I'm looking for everything to be intact. Interior, under the hood, you know, underneath the carriage, everything got to be intact when you're looking for certain things, but mainly the engine. You know, you gotta lift the hood up. You gotta know what an engine should feel like, how things should operate. Just going through and checking everything before you be comfortable with buying something. You can't go in blinded to the facts and not have a little bit of knowledge of something before you invest in something.
Now, first off, the mere fact that you know about the auctions, the car auctions, puts you a step ahead of most people who are just buying their cars from the used car lots, or buying their secondhand, or buying them from the dealership. Because there's a lot of cars. I mean, there's a lot of dealers that buy their cars from the auction just like you, and they're getting them wholesale. So there's that one aspect. You're getting it cheaper because you're buying it wholesale just from that portion right there. Okay. Now, you don't know that much because you're not a mechanic and you're not an auto body person. So, as you said, you're trying to buy the best car that you can for the amount of money that you have in your pocket. So let's say that you got $3,000 in your pocket.
Right.
So you're trying to make sure that the car has no problems, the car, you know, is looking good and nice and clean and everything works. And then you're gonna put your bid on it. If you can get it for $3,000 or less, boom. And now when you drive off with it, normally when you get when you go and look in the Kelly Blue Book, you're gonna see that car that you just bought is going to be worth, you know, two times double the price of the sticker price if you was to actually resell it straight from the auction. And that's you, layman, no idea of what's going on. Now, a person who's a mechanic, or we'll go with the auto body person first. An auto body person might go to an auction and see a car that's been in a head-on collision. Ain't nobody buying that car because it's been in a collision. And they're like, you know, not even Keem. Keem ain't buying that car because it's been in a collision, correct, Keem?
Correct.
And he's not a mechanic. He's not an auto body person. So he doesn't, he's not trying to deal with that problem. But an auto body person might look and see, oh, this thing has been in a collision, the front end's been collapsed or whatever. And then they go under the hood, they check the engine, they get the key, it still runs. So the only thing that it needs is a new front end. And they're like, shoot, I can go get me a front end from the junkyard for $150.
Right.
So they already know, okay, when this thing goes through the auction, as is, nobody's gonna touch it because it's been in a front end collision. So he's gonna be able to get that front end collision car for way less, because it might even go for we'll just say $500, because nobody else wants to touch it. Everybody's, you know, like Keem, they're looking for the car that got no problems. So he gets it for $500. He puts it on his tow truck, tows it to his garage, goes to the junkyard, go gets the front end, go gets the new hood. He probably pays $150 for the new front end, probably another $75 for the hood. Puts those two things, slaps those two things on it. Car's paint, another coat of paint. Car's brand new. Puts it on his lot. $6,000. See, that's the difference between having skills and knowledge. It makes the difficulty you're able to see a whole lot more opportunities in difficulty.
When you can do the work yourself.
And you can do the work yourself. Exactly.
I said when you can do the work yourself.
Sometimes you don't even got to do the work yourself. You just got to understand it. Because I me knowing what I know, just like what I just told you. If I see a car like that and I know, like you said, I know when an engine is good, that there's no problems with the engine. I don't need to have auto body experience. I just need to know of a person who does have auto body experience. Shout out to Mr. Davis Auto Body in Stone Mountain. Okay, I can go to the auction, see a car that's been in a front end collision, and then go on the website, because I know how to go on the website to the yards and see how much a front end costs. And as I said, it might be $150. A new hood might be $75. And now I can just go to those places and go get the new hood and go get the new front end and then bring it to Mr. Davis and say, how much you gonna charge me to put this on? And Mr. Davis will be like, yeah, give me give me $600-700 for it. Come back in about a week. Right. I give him those parts, give him $700, come back in a week, car's looking new. But it's only because I had the knowledge. I didn't have to do the work myself. I just understood it. I understood the process.
So, overall, speaking on subcontracts.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be a hustle too. Like, you don't even have to know how to do the work or get the job. Give it to somebody else and get a percentage.
Yep. There you go. And people do that all the time. We call that bird dogging. I was doing that in the cleaning industry. Because I
call that 7 ways for 7 days right there.
Yep. 7 ways for 7 days. I was in the cleaning industry and I was working for this company, and there were jobs that my company would turn down because the person was too low. I remember I went into this one person's house and we quoted them a price of $2,500 to do the cleaning. And the lady was all like, nah, that's too much. I can't do it for $2,500. She's like, could you do it for $15,000? And my supervisor at the time, he called his boss. The boss said, nope, walk away. She'll call us back. He's trying to walk away to get her to force her hand. When he did that, I called my boy. I said, yo, I got this job over here for $1,500. You want to go? You want it? You want in on it? Hell yeah.
Right. You ain't shit. You just stole somebody's customer, nigga. No, sir.
He didn't want it. He walked away from it. He said he wanted $2,500. We went back to the office. Oh, she'll call us back. Okay, that's what you. Okay, she'll call you back. Yo, Remy, go over there, do it for $1,500. He tossed me a nice referral fee. I get $300, 20%, and all I did was just refer him the customer. You give me a thank you. Versus, okay, if I would have actually did the job as an employee, I would only been getting paid $18 an hour, and we would only have been over there for about 4 hours to do the cleanup. So what's 18 times 4? $72. I'd have got paid $72 to do the job. He would have got paid $25. My boss would have got paid $2,500. I refer the job to Remy over here. He does it for 15. I get 300. Everybody's happy.
Right.
The lady's happy because she was able to get it for under 2,500, but she wanted for the job that she wanted. And the only reason that I did that was because she was a sister. If she wasn't a sister, I probably wouldn't have did that. Because I know that, you know, as I said, they probably would have, if it was a white person, they would have called my boss. Oh yeah, we had some black guy come over here asking to do the job for 1,500. I think one of your employees told them about this. And that'd have been the end of it. You see what I'm saying? But because it was a sister and she was in need, this was an opportunity for me to be able to help out my people. And everybody's happy. So these are some of the tricks of the trades and some of the ways that you're able to take advantage, even if you're working for a company. I don't recommend you do it, you know. But these are my stories. These are my lived experiences. These are the things that I've done. You can take from it what you want. They're not recommendations, but we're here to tell stories. And then it's a case study for you. But with that being said, I think I got everything out. I think I said everything that I wanted to say. Is there anything that you want to say? Let me see if I got any more videos before I get out of here. I do see that there are a couple of more comments. So let me look at the comments. But I'm gonna play a video
like this. Shalom.
In New York and Philadelphia, blacks own more to economic.
Yep, I guess that's it. Hold on. I think y'all seen it all. All the videos y'all done saw.
This video.
They'll do it in Houston.
Here's a part of Black history that rarely gets talked about: our complicated relationship with labor unions. As work in America was being transformed in the early 19th century, thanks to the transportation and communications revolutions, white labor unions were already forming. The very first popped up in 1790, and they were designed to protect white workers. Now here's the catch. Between 1790 and the Civil War, the free black population grew to almost 500,000, but not a single black worker was allowed into those unions. So what did black workers do? We organized. In 1850, black laborers formed the American League of Colored Laborers. Samuel Ringgold Ward served as president, and Frederick Douglass was vice president. It didn't last long, but it set the stage for the next big effort. By 1869, the Colored National Labor Union was born. They pushed the federal government to redistribute land to black farmers, and just a few years later, in 1872, Frederick Douglass himself became its president. Now that same year, another union was making waves, the Noble and Holy Order of the Knights of Labor. And at first, they seemed revolutionary, open to workers of all races. Sounds promising, right? Well, not for long. By the late 1880s, black involvement had collapsed, and by 1894, the Knights' official stance on what they called the Negro question was shocking: deport all black people to Liberia. Meanwhile, the American Federation of Labor was trying to take a different path. In 1886, they said they wouldn't charter unions that excluded black workers. But here's the twist. That promise only lasted a decade. The economic depression of 1893 hit hard, and suddenly, black workers were being used as strikebreakers. Resentment grew, and the AFL quickly shifted back to exclusionary practices. By the end of the 19th century, many black workers no longer trusted unions.
So this has been going on ever since slavery. See, they always been wanting us to work for free. Oh, y'all don't want to work for free? All right, well, y'all ain't gonna work. I swear, man, it's crazy out here. But shout out to Prime, Crushing for Cash. Shout out to True Prodigy. Thanks for watching.
What started as a movement that claimed to fight for all workers had proven itself to be another gatekeeper. And that gulf between black and white labor, it didn't disappear with time. It shaped the 20th century, and you can still feel its impact in today's labor market.
There you have it, folks. That's the broadcast. So, I wish there was more for me to say, but there's nothing more else. You all see.
Not really.
What do you mean?
Once we tap in on things, people are going to pay attention and sponge. That's the question.
Say it again.
Are people going to pay attention? Because I feel like right now, people want to be like, where's all my scamming ass niggas at? That's what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
But when that dies down, what you gonna listen to after that? Some more nonsense and bullshit.
I beg to differ. I mean, you have that aspect of people who are, a part of that, who's drinking the Kool-Aid and who's, wanting to be a part of the mainstream. But see, just like you said, when the wind starts to blow on you and you have to take care of yourself, now you start to want to figure out, how am I going to survive? How am I going to live? And as I was saying earlier, the reason that I have, live streams like this is because I wish somebody would have told me this information back when I was 18 years old, back when I was 22 years old, just getting out of the military. And luckily, I did have my father who, showed me how to make money doing pest control, and how simple it was. I didn't need a PhD in order to make, $200 a day. But then, as I told you, here's my boy Bird. He comes out of the military, and instead of doing what I did, he chose another route. He went and got his IT certification, and he's making 6 figures straight out of the military. I'm only making, a little bit over $30,000 a year. And then once I was able to get my own company, I was able to up that from $30,000 to $60,000 a year. And then once I got into cleaning and restoration, then I was able to up that from $60,000 a year to $80,000 a year. And then, I was able to buy the 2 pieces of real estate that I got. And then and once I was able to get the rental income, and then I was able to get my VA disability increased, I was out of the game. I'm like, okay, cool. This is all I need. I'm good. Not that I'm good forever, because as we know, $60,000 really ain't no money, or $40,000 really ain't no money, but it's stability. And that's really all we're looking for. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us is operating without a net out here. We on Skid Row, trying to find a roof over our head. You know, there's a lot of people that's on Skid Row living in a tent under a bridge somewhere, and they got to go to a food pantry or a soup kitchen in order to eat. Are those people listening to "Where Are All My Niggas At"? They might be, but they ain't listening to it, from their car. They over here like, yo, I need to find me a way. So you try to put out the information to the people that are gonna listen to it. They're like, oh, okay, I can go to trade school 3 days, and now I can go get me a job working at Stanley Steamer, making $1,000 a week. There was cats that was working at Stanley Steamers, because I did work at Stanley Steamers, for a short time, that was taking 3 and 4 buses from Southwest Atlanta to get to Stanley Steamers at 6:30 in the morning. Those are the people that will be listening to this information. The person who's over here like, yo, okay, mom's is about to kick me out. I just turned 18. I don't know what to do. You got guys like Mr. Peppers who could come on here and be like, yo, go to CDL training. A lot of places will actually, not only will they send you to a school where you'll go to school and learn, tractor trailer school, and you'll be in that school for a couple of weeks. So you'll get free room and board for that. And then once you pass the test and take your CDL, okay, they'll put you in a sleeper car. Now you can go over the road and go make that money and still have a place to stay. Shout out to my cousin Sadiq. That's what he did. He got a CDL, and he was homeless at one point. But once he was able to get his CDL and get his license back on track, and he was able to get a job with a trucking company, they gave him a sleeper car. Now he's driving, from Atlanta all the way to Chicago, and sometimes he'll go all the way to the Dakotas and back to Atlanta, and now he's getting paid, 6 figures. But we're not saying that these jobs are easy. There's some difficulty in those jobs, but if you're able to endure through the difficulty, you'll be all right. That's what we're saying here. I know I'm long-winded, but I'm trying to get the point out. That's who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people who was myself, like me, 16, who wish that somebody gave them this information so that they could do better with it. They can make their decisions early. Because I know, shoot, if somebody would have told me I could have, took up a trade while I was 16 years old, like plumbing or electrical, and I could have went out and learned how to, install water heaters, or, learn how to install baseboard heat or light fixtures and install lights, because I know how to do some of that stuff now. I know basic electricals. I know how to install a ceiling fan and install, plug outlets. That's worth good money. So imagine you learning that at age 16, at age 18, and you doing that. You ain't worrying about selling no drugs, because you making drug dealer money. You about to use this drug dealer, this money that you doing, learning trades or doing trades, to elevate yourself, to do other things, bigger and better things. i.e. go to college, i.e. go get your IT certification. Now, before you was making, $50,000 at age 16, 18 years old. Now you 22, now you making 6 figures, 200,000. that's how you learn. That's how you do that. You know, that's the trajectory that you want to be on. Me, I was fortunate enough to go into the military. That was, you know, a way for me to get out of the streets. I got out and I learned late to get into the trades. I didn't know how to do construction. All I knew how to do was be a laborer, but I was able to turn a laborer job into cleaning and restoration. And I know Keem knows this a whole lot better because Keem worked for the temp agencies as a laborer, working for Labor Ready and all of these different temp agencies that'll send you out on these labor jobs and you ain't getting paid a lot of money. And I did that too. I worked for Labor Ready. I worked for some of these temp agencies. But while I was at these temp agencies, I would talk to the people who were foremen, who were skilled tradesmen, and ask them what they did. And then they would give me, you know, some game, how I could, you know, break into their industry or level up. Because my first, as I said, I lost my job with Terminex right as soon as I bought my house. Then the BP oil spill happened. I talked to some people. They was like, yo, you need to go down there and be a part of that oil spill cleanup. How do I do that? Oh, go get your HVAC. It's going to be a week course, $500. Paid the $500, got my HVAC certification. Went down to Alabama, Mobile, Alabama. It was a temp agency. They put me on with the oil spill crew. I start talking to one of the foremen. He's telling me, okay, well, if you want to stay in this game, you need to either stay here because around the Gulf, there's a lot of oil refineries that needs people like yourself to do oil spill cleaning. Otherwise, if you're going to go back home to Atlanta, then you're not going to be in this industry because there's no oil in Atlanta. But there's hurricanes in Atlanta. There's tornadoes in Atlanta. You know, that's the same industry that we're in. We clean up the hazardous waste materials. They clean up disaster. They clean up debris. They just wear a different Tyvek. We wear the yellow, the rubber Tyveks, the yellow rubber Tyveks. They wear the white Tyvek. But we all make around the same amount of money. So go get your water damage restoration certification. Go get your IICRC certification. That's what they told me. So what did I do? When I got home, I went and got my water damage restoration certification. That was a 3-day course, $450. Got my certification. Went to go to a water damage restoration company. They said, let me see your certification. I showed them my certification. They put me on the truck immediately. Yeah, put him on the truck right there. So it happened that quickly. That's what I'm trying to show people. These trades, man, these trades. You will get you to freedom. As we said, these are freedom skills. But anything else, sir?
Not at the moment, sir.
All right, well, thanks everybody for watching. Prime, True Prodigy, Ronan, Travels, Mr. Henderson, and the people who are going to be watching in the recording. Next week, we'll be talking about relationships. This is the second week of, we usually do Messy Love Mondays. So, I think it's going to be a good topic because we're going to be talking about this low-hanging fruit. That's going to be the topic for next week. These guys out here dating, these women. Can we turn these low-hanging fruit into a nutritious salad. You know, I'm trying to be politically correct, Keen, right? Because you know what I really want to say.
I do know what you really want to say. You want me to say it for you?
Yes, please.
Nah, I'm not even gonna do it because you ain't gonna have niggas coming at my neck. I'll be pulling up on panels having a fight all the time, unless I'm on our panel, which is peace. Nah, you're not gonna set me up. But you know I'll say it. You know I will say it.
Hey, it's no thing. Can we turn these 304s into housewives? That's all we trying to say.
Right.
Is it possible? You know, because all these people is always talking about, you know, oh, y'all are out here traveling, y'all over here dating these low-hanging fruit, these bottom feeders and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm going to speak on that. We're going to speak on that on Messy Love Mondays next week. But with that being said, I thank you all for joining the show. I will bid you adieu.
Yes. Thank you for all tuning in on this Monday night to Real Talk with Nate the Black Cleaner and your co-host, Cool King.
Yes. Please like and subscribe to our. Cost you nothing to hit the like buttons. If you want to keep this content going, the positive content, the information that we really need in order to be progressing. You know, I'm like NPR right here. We need your support.
Right. It costs you nothing to like and subscribe and pay us no mind.
So, but, all right, I'm going to end it. I appreciate y'all. Peace.
We've lost out because I like to keep this tradition going. So this is a toast to family.
To family.
The Black Cleaner. Nate's Odyssey. Traveling while black. Real stories. No filters. Follow the journey. Across the world we've roam. Searching for peace while trying to build a home. Through the love and the loss, through the pressure and growth. The Black Cleaner speaking truths most people never told. Follow the journey. No filters. No pretending. Follow the journey. Real stories. Never ending. From Panama nights to Cartagena views. Trying to understand life from a different point of view. Conversations get deep when the camera's cut on. Talking purpose, pain, and trying to stay strong. Traveling while black in a world full of judgment. Trying to find freedom while escaping the dysfunction. Some people chasing money, some searching for healing. Others just trying to understand what they really feeling. Nate's Odyssey, every episode authentic. Talking real life lessons, people scared to mention. Relationships changing, friendship fading slow. Trying to find your purpose while still learning to grow. Follow the journey. Across the world we roam. Searching for peace while trying to build a home. Through the love and the loss, through the pressure and growth. The Black Cleaner speaking truths most people never told. Follow the journey. No filters. No pretending. No, follow the journey. Real stories. Never ending. Messy Love Mondays in them late night talks. Money mindset streams while we question our thoughts. Building the broad but discovering yourself. Learning real freedom ain't just wealth. Black fatigue conversations hit different at night. Trying to carry pressure while still chasing the light. Every live stream feel like therapy sessions. Helping people navigate pain and direction. No fake flexing, just honest reflections. Travel stories mixed with life confessions. The beauty and struggle of the global economy, trying to elevate beyond survival mentally. If you ever felt lost, if you ever needed change, if you ever questioned life, this journey might feel the same. Follow the journey across the world, searching for peace while trying to build a home. Trying to build through the love and the loss, through the pressure and growth. The black cleaner speaking truths most people never told. Follow the journey, no filters, no pretending. Follow the journey, real stories, never ending. Travel, culture, relationships, reinvention, the black cleaner. Follow the journey.